Jehovah's Witnesses love to toss around their special little sayings, but once you leave the organization, you start to realize these things don't sound spiritual, but instead they sound outright ridiculous. So today, I'm exposing the top phrases that will make you roll your eyes at Jehovah's Witnesses and why they're nothing but a bunch of recycled cult talk. Let's start with one of the most common ones, worldly people. Worldly people is a JW term for anyone that isn't a part of their religion. When you actually define the word worldly, it could mean practical or having a lot of experience in life. It could also mean a person who's dedicated to ordinary pursuits as opposed to spiritual things. The reason this is particularly ridiculous is because the person they're referring to could be a world-renowned theologian who's dedicated to the Bible and spiritual pursuits, but the fact that they're not a Jehovah's Witness still makes them worldly. And when they say it, it's meant to sound dirty, dangerous, and like non-JWs are out to corrupt you. And that's how they keep the members from going to make outside friends. So basically, it doesn't matter if you're a teacher, firefighter, nurse, even your own grandma who isn't baptized is just another worldly person who can't be trusted. Another classic one is wait on Jehovah. You see, anytime a witness has doubts, concerns, or questions regarding something in the organization, they're told to wait on Jehovah, which is essentially like hitting a spiritual snooze button. In other words, shut up, stop asking questions, and Jehovah will fix it in due time. And your life could literally be falling apart, but yet you're expected to do absolutely nothing but wait and see if Jehovah corrects it in the next Watchtower update. Another word you'll constantly hear in JW land is spiritual. In normal life, spiritual might mean connected to God, prayerful, or maybe just a peaceful person. But with Jehovah's Witnesses, spiritual is all related to performative acts. Yes, how much do you look, talk, and walk like a JW robot? Wearing dress clothes 24/7? Spiritual. Raising your hand to give Watchtower answers? Spiritual. And at one point in time, if you turned down extra education, you were super spiritual. Now, you can have some serious flaws in other areas of life, but the more you knock on doors and stand around carts, the more spiritual of a person you are viewed as. Another phrase that deserves its own spotlight is pioneer. If you're not an ex-Jehovah's Witness, let me explain. Pioneer is like a fancy Watchtower word for someone who devotes insane amount of time knocking on doors. Now, from what I understand, there was some adjustments to the hourly requirements for pioneers, but from what I remember, I know that a regular pioneer was typically to put in 70 hours per month, and auxiliary pioneer was putting in around 30 to 50 hours per month, and then a special pioneer was putting in 130 plus hours per month. And here's the thing, JW culture worships pioneers like celebrities. You could literally be broke, depressed, and living in someone's basement, but as long as you're hitting those 70 hours a month, you are considered a big shot in the congregation. The next one always cracks me up, and that is how Jehovah's Witnesses love referring to themselves as sheep. Yep, you heard it right, sheep. Now, it might sound cute, but the thing about it is you're not grazing in the meadow like a sheep, you're knocking on doors in the rain. Now, it makes perfect sense from the organization's point of view because sheep have a very strong flocking instinct. They're known to follow each other as opposed to thinking independently. Another point about sheep is that generally they're easily influenced. So it makes perfect sense why the organization can make changes multiple times and the members will just sit back and see it as new light. Which brings us to the next phrase, new light. See, it sounds empowering and like a grand revelation, but really all they're saying is we've changed our minds again. You see, new light is used to justify policy and doctrinal changes. And also, it's to encourage members to follow its latest updates without any question. The last phrase we will cover is the truth. Jehovah's Witnesses refer to their organization as the truth, implying that it's the ultimate, unquestionable reality. It's kind of ironic that they refer to themselves as the truth, but yet when someone brings to them some truth about their organization, that's the last thing that they want to hear.
So be careful. If the conversation turns negative, get out.
It's actually pretty amazing too that they still refer to themselves as the truth, even with all of the failed predictions in the past of the world ending and all of the doctrinal changes. To a Jehovah's Witness, it's a badge of honor to be a part of the truth. However, it's a very condescending viewpoint because it positions them as being infallible while dismissing every other perspective. But there we have it. That's part one of some of the most ridiculous phrases you might hear if you sit inside of a Kingdom Hall. Do me a big favor and like this video if you haven't already. And if you want more XJW content, consider subscribing to the channel. And lastly, if you would like to support the channel, you may do so on my Patreon. You can join for just $1 per month, and my link will be in the description. But until next time, dodge the tower, claim your power, and I'll see you on the next one.